It's a Tuesday, June 22nd, and it's time for your Barbados Today morning news update. Teachers' unions in the country are seemingly not on board with government's plans for a summer school program. Summer school is intended to bring thousands of primary and secondary students up to speed with their lessons following disruptions to the country's education system due to the COVID-19 pandemic. However, President of the Barbados Union of Teachers, Pedro Shepherd, tells Barbados Today the program represents a deviation from the terms and conditions of their employment.
The Education Act states clearly that the school year is broken up into 3 terms, totaling 38 weeks, and that the vacation period for teachers broken up in 3, again, total 14. So it is clear that the actual teaching time is 38 weeks and the vacation period is 40 weeks. That is clear in the Education Act. So any changes to that would have to be made at the level of Parliament and certainly discussion with the stakeholders.
He also explained that after over a year of continuous teaching in an unusually difficult environment, educators needed the break in the interest of their mental and physical well-being.
Teachers have been going since March last year. When COVID came, teachers went straight into preparing for the G Suite during the Easter vacation, so they did not have Easter vacation. And from then, they have been going. Teaching online is twice as hard or 3 times as hard as the physical teaching. People might not recognize it, but teachers will, if you interview teachers, they will tell you that teaching online is twice as hard in terms of preparation and everything else, having the challenges with the technology, so some children on, some not on, and then you have to do over work and all that kind of stuff. It's not easy. And teachers are mentally fatigued and physically fatigued in some instances. And we know that the ministry stopped terms leave, so teachers now not even getting the chance to have that terms leave to recuperate.
The National Union of Public Workers appears to be grappling with a fresh controversy, even as it prepares to meet for talks at a crucial session this week to chart a new course for the organization. The latest contention surrounds allegations circulating on social media pertaining to the union's acting General Secretary, Wayne Waldron. Emmanuel Joseph reports.
When contacted Monday, Council member Fabian Jones labelled what he cited as rumours against Waldron as nasty and untrue. Barbados Today understands that someone in a privileged position in the union circulated legitimate confidential documents but attached what has been described as fabricated information to them. Jones explained that the person who initiated the reports falsely linked Waldron's spending on his private legal matter with that of the union's expenditure on a separate and distinct internal legal issue. While confirming the legitimacy of a $9,000 NUPW check made out to a lawyer, an invoice from the attorney for the sum, and a payment of voucher prepared by the union, Jones sought to make it clear that these funds were approved by the council on behalf of the organization and not for the acting General Secretary's private affairs. In explaining exactly what the money is for, Jones said the state of affairs of the union, including this breach of protocol and what he called nasty occurrence, will be addressed by the council during a meeting sometime this week.
Pre-June 17th, this situation with the president put the union in a situation of a constitutional crisis. So council met and decided that the union needs a legal opinion. Are you with me?
Yeah, with you. Yeah.
Right, council met and determined that the union needs a legal opinion, and they gave the general secretary and the deputy general secretary the permission to seek a legal opinion in relation to this constitutional crisis that we were placed in as a result of the Secretary General's proposal. Right, so Mr. Waldron's his lawsuit is a separate matter that he's dealing with privately from his own funds.
Jones said the council meeting will deal with the filling of the posts of General Secretary and Deputy General Secretary, the claims against Waldron, and ways of preventing a recurrence of the constitutional chaos that resulted from the resolution to create the new post in the union. I'm Emmanuel Joseph for Barbados Today.
Issues with dust and a strong odor from ongoing roadworks in nearby Port House led to the early closure of the St. John's Primary School on Monday. The school's principal declined to speak to Barbados today, but parents confirmed that they were asked to collect their charges around 9:30 a.m. Second Vice President of the Barbados Union of Teachers, Rudy Lovell, confirmed that the union had received reports from its members about the situation. When contacted, MP for the area, Charles Griffith, told Barbados today he would discuss the issue with the contractor in a bid to address the problem. The roadworks began at the end of 2019, following complaints by residents about the partially collapsed road in the rural community. Officers of the Royal Barbados Police Force to undergo frequent retraining exercises to enhance their skills. Attorney General Dale Marshall made this disclosure yesterday as he addressed the opening ceremony of the two-week Police Executive Leadership Seminar at the Hilton Barbados Resort. The course, which is being held in conjunction with the United Kingdom's Durham Constabulary, will target some senior officers in the first phase.
So I'm sure that you, as the executives of the Royal Barbados Police Force, value the opportunity to enhance your personal development and to burnish the skills that senior officers need to have in order to lead in a challenging environment such as this. Initiatives such as these will come with expectations. On behalf of the government, on behalf of the people, we know what we expect to come of this as far as you are concerned. But what we expect most of all is a stable public safety environment. And we appreciate that one training program will not take you where you need to be. And that's why there's going to be continued training in the Royal Barbados Police Force. And Deputy Commissioner, the Prime Minister has agreed to give us the resources necessary to make sure that on an annual basis, the leadership cohort of the force is trained and retrained and retrained, and then all of the junior ranks have the opportunity for training and retraining and retraining.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from the region, talks are ongoing with two potential investors for cash-strap LIAT. Word of this from Antigua and Barbados Prime Minister Gaston Brown, who also hinted at the possibility of a new company to administer the affairs of the regional airline. Prime Minister Brown, speaking on his radio program over the weekend, also said that the offer to LIAT workers of up to a maximum of 50% of their severance, either by cash, land or government bonds, or a combination of the three, was still on the table.
So it's for them to accept the proposal that the government of Antigua and Barbuda extended to them to cover up to 50% of their liabilities. Primarily their severance liabilities. We still have at least two entities that are negotiating with the administrator to become shareholders within the LIAT company. May have to be a new company because when you look at what is happening presently, the threats that are made, the demands that are made by past staff, members of staff and the union, I'm not even sure now that LIAT 1974 Limited will be viable, so it may have to be a LIAT 2020 that is just recapitalize and start as a new entity and provide the severance payments for those who worked for LIAT 1974 Limited. But we still have two viable investors who the administrator is having discussions with, and we're hoping that they will come in and to bring some capital to the table.
And finally, The World Health Organization says it will set up a hub in South Africa where manufacturers from low and middle-income countries can receive training on how to produce certain vaccines and get the relevant licenses to do so. WHO Chief Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus made the announcement on Monday in Geneva.
Today, I'm delighted to announce that WHO is in discussions with a consortium of companies and institutions to establish a technology transfer hub in South Africa. The consortium involves a company called African Biologics and Vaccines, which will act as the hub both by manufacturing mRNA vaccines itself and by providing training to a second manufacturer called BioVac. In time, Afrigen could provide training to other manufacturers in Africa and beyond. The Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention will provide guidance through the Partnership for African Vaccines Manufacturing. WHO is facilitating this effort by establishing the criteria for the technology transfer, assessing the applications, developing standards, and providing ongoing support and training. We are now in negotiations with several companies that have indicated interest in providing their mRNA technology to the hub.
South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa described the move as an historic step.
Because today marks an important milestone towards the achievement of one of the critical objectives of the African Union's Agenda 2063, the Africa we want. The ability to manufacture vaccines, medicines, and other health-related commodities will help put Africa on a path to self-determination. Through this initiative and others, we will change the narrative of an Africa that is a center of disease and poor development.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.